It also includes a fingerprint scanner and a 20,000 volt security system, and this I'm particularly proud of. The remote control for your car. Tap twice. 1, 2. Now, draw your finger very slowly across the pad to drive the car. It's surprisingly difficult to drive, but with practice...
Well, let's see how she responds to my touch, okay?
Think we understand each other? No, 007.
Outstanding. You see in that clip that Hugh actually gives Bond a lesson, but he actually in turn gives Hugh a lesson. One of the big things that we take from the James Bond analogy that I've kind of painted for you over the last couple slides is that the evolution of the device and gadgets that we see Bond using as the movies progress through the decades increase in their complexity and sophistication, much like all the devices we use today. What we think is a real cool phone, like we got the Apple 6 or something in our purse or in our person, in probably about 8 months there's a brand new one out, right? Off the scrap heap she goes. So the device complexity and evolution of those devices is increasing exponentially today, as evidenced through the James Bond movies. Now let's talk very quickly about 1995 and web browsing. I mentioned earlier that a lot of the content that we're viewing now on the net is video and bandwidth based. In 1995, which is really a scant 2 decades ago, only 20 years, this was your user experience on Yahoo. All text heavy, no e-commerce ads. Basically, it was a library online. It's essentially what it was. Think of how we've evolved today. Would you ever see a website looking like this today? Never. It also leads us to the devices that we're viewing the internet with today. It's a virtual explosion of internet-enabled devices. In North America, roughly 40% of homes have 4 or more internet-enabled devices. So from a gaming system to a laptop, to an iPad, to nesting thermostats, you name it, it's there. And it's exploding exponentially right now. If you look at the number of devices that are loaded on the internet today, they number 25 billion. So from 1995 to 2015, we loaded 25 billion devices onto the internet. That's more. That's roughly 3 for every person on the globe. In the next 5 years, from 2015 to 2020, we're going to load another 25 billion according to Cisco. So again, the complexity, the sheer movement of that data is significant to the extent that we're trying to get ahead of it by building a new network. And here comes the analogy when you start tying everything together. Because if you look at the future home, and even today, a lot of it exists today. You've got security systems, environmental monitoring, connected vehicles. You've got smart alarms, cars with starters. I actually have a sump pump alarm that goes to myself in case it goes off, right? Just so I know that my sump pump's working. It's been very handy. And all of these devices and applications work really well independently of each other. But you need the network underneath all of these applications to integrate and to run them on your mobile devices and allow you to be flexible to manage it. And that's where bandwidth comes in, because to run all these at the same time ubiquitously in a mobile setting, you require bandwidth to be able to run it efficiently and effectively. The copper platforms that we have today are not, as we move forward, going to be sufficient enough to be able to integrate all of these effectively. Hence, our investment in fiber optics. So where do we see ourselves going in the future? We see it to be quite, I think, interactive, immersive, and mobile are the three kind of acronyms I've come up with. And if you look at the applications that run your preferences today, for example, if you search Google, even Bing now has just launched their new search feedback mechanism. So you type in, you're looking for a winery, Cherry Hill Winery just down the road. It'll finish your sentence for you. It's already mapping your preferences into the search items that you're looking for. That's happening already. So the feedback, as we move forward, is going to be more interactive. When I say immersive, technology in terms of 3D is coming. If you go and look at Microsoft on a YouTube video, it's called HoloGen. If you look up HoloGen on YouTube, there's some really cool stuff happening, but of course requires big bandwidth. And essentially what you can do as a business is design a brand new vehicle. So you can design the new 2016 Camaro right in your own room, 3D down to the lights and the tires, and the car color you want. Now once they start actually bringing that to the home setting, you can actually pop that car in your driveway, hologen it, build it on your computer, and go walk out and have a look at it. Do I like that color? I don't know, honey, maybe we should get the different tires with it. But you know what, I like the Mustang better. Let's just go to the Ford site and put Mustang on the front of that. All in 3D. That takes a lot of horsepower to run on a network. But those are some of the applications that are starting to come out that could take off. Why go to a car dealer when you can order your new car right off your front driveway? Kind of an interesting concept. So it's HoloGen on YouTube. It's quite cool to go look at. So in terms of the internet applications for business owners, there's a whole bunch of new things you can do because this is a brand new white space. Especially in this market here in Duncan, where we only had 6 mega service up to this point in many instances. That limits your ability to do e-commerce, to be quite frank. Upload pictures, geez, it could take like 10 minutes. On fiber, it takes 10 seconds. So you're much more productive. I was talking to a business owner in Coaldale last week, and he was jumping up and down to get us over to his office to get fiber. I said, well, what's your biggest problem? He says, well, first off, I'm on a 3 meg service. And he says, I'm in an industrial park. And we upload large files because we support the oil patch and the agricultural industry. So what we do is when we work on a file and have to upload it to the cloud or send it to a customer on email to follow up, we hit save and then we hit send. And then my staff goes for lunch or a break. And they're not productive because the system is shut down while it's thinking and sending it for the next 15 to 20 minutes. So that business owner, his staff, as productive and as great people as they are, can only work as fast as the network allows them to do. So he's going to be instantly more productive when he's got 150 meg service now. He's going to be flying around now. So it's chances to do new things and unlock different potentials with different speeds. Speed kills, and it does a whole bunch of great things if you can harness it. And surfing speeds here, we've got them over 100 meg. I mentioned 150. That's exactly where we're going, 150. We also have a brand new Wi-Fi service. So any business owner who chooses to go with our business internet service over fiber, it's a free Telus Wi-Fi system setup. And that's open to all customers. We don't differentiate whether you're on a competitor's plan or whatever you want to call it. It's open to everyone. We've made our platform completely open. And we also have unlimited internet data and a free wireless backup if the power ever goes out, which is crucial. I know sometimes that happens in Duncan. So if the power goes out, we have a system, it's called the Smart Hub wireless backup that defaults over to your wireless telephone, and you can still run your point of sale service. So you're never out, which is kind of handy when you need it. So in summary, I guess we're talking about a new way that we're living and playing and working. And the way we're doing it today is sufficient, but it's not going to get us where we need to go. hence the new investment in fiber optics. And we also wanted to talk about what we're doing locally, because that's also a big thing of what Telus likes to do. We're involved locally in each of our communities, and our corporate philosophy is we give where we live. First off, we employ a lot of people in every corner of this province and every corner of the province of Alberta where I'm from, and we're extremely proud of that, and also in the east. Also in Vancouver Island, we invested in 2014 over $44 million in local communities, and our volunteers, and we do day giving with the local dealer and all of our employees locally, usually in May. We've donated over 635,000 hours just last year alone. And that's Telus employees, your colleagues, team members, retirees, and family members. So that's extremely important to us. Locally, we've donated $2,000 to the Cowichan Land Trust, and also $1,500 to the Lakeside Players Society. And there's more coming, because we're going to be launching a Fiber for Good program. Is that how I would correctly adjust that program?
Yes.
In 2016?
Yes, it's just currently, I guess you could say, in the process of being approved, but I've been given some winks that it will be.
So typically how that works in other communities, I'm not sure the details on how it'll work here, but typically we'll come through and canvass the community on which charities are important locally. We will put those, sometimes there's 10 charities in the local community that people would like to see there, sometimes there's 5, and there's a process to vet them through to make sure they are nonprofits. And from that perspective, for every customer that signs up on fiber optic for television, we donate $25 to the charity of their choice. So that's something that's coming next year. And these are just some investment items that we've brought up. We've also invested in some of the wireless upgrades to some of the Island Highway near Caldwell Hill, where there were some problems. And we hope this is a thing of the past. And if you have any questions, we would be pleased to take them. Yes?
How comprehensive is your program? Does it get out to the Cowichan Parkway there? Does it get only a kilometer around Duncan?
It's going to radiate out from Duncan, so it's going to be technically Duncan, North Cowichan, and portions of the regional district. Correct, Lauren?
Yeah, so I can even, maybe it's even helpful too. There's my voice isn't as loud as anyone else's. You guys, there's even down here, I don't know if you can see it, telus.com/fiber is the website you can go to, and he had even put the link, so you can go to it right here. So, and you can actually even knock off the fiber. So telus.com/CBR, Cowichan Valley Region. We've also kind of ghost linked CBRD and Duncan and a couple others, so you can really type in anything that comes to mind at this point now. And if you go to it, you can type in your address and see if you're within the footprint, and then on top of that, where we're expanding to. So at the moment, Duncan City Central is right here. And then we have select areas of North Cowichan, and then anything outside of North Cowichan and City Central Duncan is just the CBRD for the time being. And then there is also an area on that footprint website, so telus.com/CBR, that you can say, I want fiber if you're not within the current build footprint, because Telus is always looking to receive feedback from people who are interested in seeing it. Go for it.
Yeah, just one more question. You talked about this Wi-Fi thing that kicks in.
Yeah.
So how does that work exactly? It sounds like when the power goes out or something, then it automatically switches your entire network over to Wi-Fi.
What it'll do is it'll actually switch back to your, on your business account, you have a wireless device set up typically, or like a contact telephone number that'll link back to your wireless device. So it is basically a failover feed to your wireless device that if the signal can't be received through your fiber line or through the coax copper line, if you don't have that, it'll default to your 4G wireless network setup. And we have a smart hub that we send you, so it's free of charge. It comes in a box, you set it up, and or one of our technicians will set it up depending on your tech savvy. and it'll just wirelessly fail over to the 4G network on Telus.
I was just curious because it sounds like a pretty good redundancy for wind farms, but I've always thought like in the event of an earthquake that would introduce massive migration disruption in Vancouver Island and the mainland. Can something like that deal with that? I'm assuming that power is actually quite adversely affected by earthquake damage.
Yeah. Like for run-of-the-mill power outages, things go down, someone hits something off the highway.
Yeah.
It'll work pretty well. If it's a catastrophic event, that's probably going to rule the level of challenge.
Fair enough.
But definitely a good question. Yeah.
Can you explain to me, my home is situated right next to one of these big black things that hangs?
Oh yes.
What is that?
So is that hanging off the aerial in your alley?
It's
Okay.
a road,
Yeah.
but it's a box that seems awfully low.
Okay.
I feel like I'm touching it by stretch.
Okay.
What is that?
So typically how we would set your home up, for example, and I have fiber in Calgary, so typically we'll run it in the back alleys, like I'm in an older area. So we run the new fiber down in the back alley. They'll take a drop when they come to your home to sign a form. You say, yes, I want to drop to my house. The technicians will come and take a drop from that alley line and attach it to the outside of your house and then drop it into your electrical room in your basement. And then put a new little fancy, we call it an ONT box in your basement and give you that new signal through that. So it's a direct fiber drop. Some homes will be buried, so they'll have to bury and trench into your front yard to bring you the fiber service. So it really just depends on your home setup. And the same with businesses as well. It'll either be conduit based, or have to do a bit of digging, or it'll be an aerial fed drop.
Were you saying that you saw this at your home, or did you see it on the street?
It's on the street.
So I think probably what you're seeing is the termination box of the fiber cable. And I'm not by any means on the build side, but I have heard that. I don't know if you can speak to
They
that.
seem awfully low.
We can take your
Yeah,
address.
I was just going to say maybe we could just take your address and maybe that it maybe it's dropped down a
Just
little
to be
bit.
safe, right?
If you think that you can touch it, I can say that it probably should be pushed back a little
I'm
bit.
exaggerating a little bit, but I just feel like it
But I'd love
would be much.
to give me maybe where the location of it when we can have the
Yeah, you'd
construction.
be happy to do a drive-by.
Yes, in some of the more modern areas, they have the underground conduits
Correct.
for Telus cable.
Yes.
Do they leave both there, or is it a case you can only have one?
Well, they would leave the copper line there. Many times they'll use the copper line just, again, it goes back to the 1920s, they'll leave it there just for the voice. Everything over
For the telephone?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, that's good.
Yeah, and over the fiber connection, they'll run the internet. Yeah. For sure, yeah, we're running out of time. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Ken, we appreciate your time today, and on your behalf, for our speakers, we donate $25 to our Polio Plus Foundation.